weighed a lot. Do you want to know the truth?
What's the time for you?
It's bang on 5 o'clock. Well,
Is it?
5:02.
Oh,
Yeah. So I've clocked off now. But I'm still at work.
Smart.
So I work in, these are radio studios, and this is one that's been like set up with a light right there, just giving me this cute halo look.
Oh yeah. Oh my
was
god!
like-
I thought that was on purpose.
Yeah, no, that's a TV right here.
Oh my god! Wow. That is like perfect.
It is. I know. I was like, I'm gonna sit right here. It's perfect. Alfie Templeman. I like to call you Turbo Templeman behind your back.
I love it. Turbo Templeman. I've never heard that one before. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
well, I coined it, so I'd hope not.
I'm all for it. Yeah, that's yours. You can keep that.
Thank you. You can adopt it too if you want. But it really just refers to your machine of work. You like constantly writing, constantly releasing. You're 18. You've got what, like 7 genre shifting EPs, a mini album. You're working on your debut album. You've got like, well, in July last year, you said you had 500 songs or more. So I expect you have around 700 now.
Yeah.
What is your key to staying like creative? What's going on in your world?
Yeah, I mean, for me, music's really the only thing that I have a deep interest in. So it comes quite easily to me. It's something that I'm naturally connected to. And from a young age, I just started recording and writing songs because I wasn't really into games and stuff like that. And the area that I live in, although it's very nice in some places, there's not much to really do. So I just chose to start making music as a way of kind of getting out of that and doing my own thing a little bit. But yeah, I just like making music, to be honest. That's the honest truth.
Well, that's good. You wouldn't otherwise be doing it. So do you ever
Yeah,
wake up and have days where you're like in a rut or anything? Where you're like, not today? Or does that never happen to you?
Well, no, not really. I mean, maybe I'll just, say if I do have one of those days, I might not record. I might just like write a song instead or something, not necessarily record it. But most of the time, I'll literally record it at the same time and try and get something completely down. So, I tend to like make ideas pretty quickly, but I guess that's because I'm a producer, I suppose. So I like to get in the studio and just like mess around and, just make little demos. That's what I've been doing for like the last year, just making little like instrumental demos, just messing around, just like little like quick snippets of songs that I'd never release because they're so stupid, but at the same time, they're so fun to make.
What's the stupidest song you've made?
Oh, I've made one about chicken nuggets once. I don't know why.
Yo, well, Chicken
about
Tenders by
cooking?
Dominic Fike is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a tune actually. Yeah, good point. I think mine was a bit more stupid, but his one's got a very good, bass to it, good lyrics and stuff. Mine's just about like basically chicken nuggets for like 2 minutes.
Do you have a quick rendition for me? Do you know how it goes?
I couldn't do it. My voice is too early in the morning.
That's you need to warm up first for this chicken nugget rendition. Yeah.
I do a really funny like Robert Plant falsetto in it, like chicken nuggets. So
I want that
Yeah,
to be like
try
a
it.
sub, like a B-side or something.
Yeah, I think we'll get there eventually.
I hope so.
Deluxe edition.
When you find ideas that don't work, then do you push through or do you just be like, nah, shelf it? I'll come back around to that maybe one day.
Normally, if say something doesn't quite gel for me, I'll sit on it for a while and chuck it on a voice memo or I'll have a rough demo of it or something, and then I might come back to it a few months later and say, okay, this is cool, but it still doesn't quite work. So I might hit up like another producer, another like songwriter, and we'll just work at it for a bit and kind of see if they can bring any ideas to the table, which sometimes they might, sometimes they might not. But at the same time, it's cool to just get someone else's ears on it, because obviously I record everything by myself and write everything by myself most of the time. So I need to know whether what I'm doing is basically good in a way. I need to be reassured by one or two people now and then that the songs that I'm making are still I'm not going crazy or anything, and all of a sudden like going in the wrong direction completely. So it's nice to have a bit of reassurance.
That's art, the wrong direction could be the right direction. Are you good at knowing when a song's done then? Do you know when to step away?
Yeah. I mean, I have a good sense now, especially like if you asked me that about 2 years ago, I'd say yeah, but I didn't, because now I know when I know, judging from how many songs I've listened to, where I can tell they're overproduced. I kind of know when to step back on my own work now and say, okay, you've been adding all of this like random like saxophone parts and percussion that's like, okay, you can stop now. Like that's enough, kind of thing. If anything, the production is the main part.
I love the saxophone in your mini album.
Oh, it's
Keep
great.
the
I do
sax in.
love adding sax. Yeah, but I'll go into it for hours, and I'll be sitting there, and then I'll realize, oh God, I've spent 5 hours putting saxophone in my song. Like, okay, I need to kind of take a step back a little bit. If anything, the production can be simplified. The main part is that the song, shines through. For example, like look at Imagine by John Lennon. He could have literally just released that as him singing with a piano, and it would still be finished. But production can change things a lot, and I want to make sure that the song is good enough on its own before adding tons of extra production that's not really necessary to kind of make it seem like it's a good song, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. As you said, it can stand up on its own. Do you find you pay a lot of attention to the music of a song or the lyrics of a song?
Both. I used to not really listen to lyrics very much, and then obviously I've grown up a little bit, and I can take other people's lyrics as things that have happened in my life as well, and it's really nice to relate to them. So more than ever, I've been working on a debut like full length album as well, and I've been really kind of focusing on lyrics and stuff basically, and making sure that I'm speaking from the heart, which is why it's taken me a bit longer, because when we went into lockdown, obviously I couldn't really sing about experiences. It felt like everything had kind of stopped, and I couldn't sing about things that actually meant something to me. But I resorted to listening to other people's songs basically, where I could kind of relate to what they were saying, and that's But at the same time, obviously music as well. I think it's a bit of both, and I've always been so fascinated by production and stuff, so that's a no-brainer for me. But I've found a new love for lyrics recently.
Have you been dabbling in poetry? I feel like I read this somewhere.
Well, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of it. Yeah, I've always kind of enjoyed doing it. Ever since I went to school and stuff, it was the only thing I was really good at in terms of like English lessons and stuff. But yeah, it's something that I've always really liked actually. But I don't read enough of it. I just try and wing it and try and make my own stuff.
That's good though. That's all right. Sometimes having no
Yeah,
influences
who knows
can
if
just
it's
mean
good
you're
or
doing your
not?
organic
But
thing, right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm curious because you were talking about having experiences to draw upon. A lot of this album was written when you were like 14. What were you drawing on then?
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely started. I started quite a few songs like "Forever Isn't Long Enough," the title track, and "Everybody's Gonna Love Somebody." They originate back to like 2017 when I was 14, and yeah, it was all of those kind of songs started off as either kind of indie songs or like disco pop kind of songs, like Tame Impala influenced and stuff. Which a lot of this record is kind of influenced by Tame Impala. Um, and yeah, back then I was first I was too young to kind of even have a good setup to kind of release songs that had that kind of high production rate to them. So I was still trying very hard to make something sound good, but I never got the songs right. And then last year it was like, okay, I've got these songs that I wrote when I was 14 and they're actually kind of decent, so I did them up and changed them a little bit. And that's where I kind of got the new influences and stuff. But I went back really to what my roots really, and started listening to Tame Impala, Mac DeMarco, Paul McCartney, Todd Rundgren, Prince, all that kind of stuff. So it's all kind of like yeah, just very kind of like good pop music really. That's what I was trying to aim for on this release.
Yeah, I totally get that. And it's interesting to see you take that on board because I know that you're really into like progressive sound as well.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of like the first like CD I ever bought was Hemispheres by Rush. Like I love Rush, and
You've got such
like
a
King
niche taste. I love it.
It's so weird. Yeah, like Gentle Giant, all of that kind of stuff. Can, Gong, yeah, all those kind of bands. Like I'm really into that kind of music. It's like the stuff that I grew up with. So I've just always been really influenced by it, even though my music sounds nothing like it, or it might one day. That might be the different direction that I head into next.
Okay, so what was this? What your parents were playing around the house? Where do they come from? What's their music relation?
No, my mum listens to 80s music a lot, which is kind of what also
Hell yeah.
influenced this record.
Yeah, cool.
Earth, Wind and Fire as well, all that kind of stuff. And my dad was a Teddy boy, so he listened to a lot of like rockabilly and rock and roll when he grew up. They both hate progressive rock, really. Apart from my dad doesn't mind Rush; he likes Rush. But yeah, it was nothing to do with them. I kind of just I used to go on like the internet and look for bands that were similar to Rush, and that's how I kind of dived deeper into like all of this prog and stuff, and ended up just listening to it as a kid a lot. But yeah, I don't think I've ever really, I don't know anyone that really shares a love for prog. So that's just me. That's just me sat there in the corner listening to prog rock all the time.
Hey,
I'm
someone's
like the
got
prog
it,
rock
right?
fan. Yeah. Oh, it's great though. I love it. I think prog's great.
Oh boy, I love that. Dude, it's such an exciting time to be like, do you feel like that's very palpable in your own life? Do you feel like you're on
Yeah.
the precipice?
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, especially this week because the record's coming out and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, finally! Like it's like a little Alfie Templeman moment. It's always really exciting when you put out a release because it's like it's your week. It's kind of like the week that you've been waiting for, that you've spent the last year or two working on. So I'm really really excited to kind of just get the record out there and see what people think, see if people enjoy it. I'm sure they will. Um, but yeah, it's really good to be Alfie Templeman at the moment. You're absolutely right.
I love that for you. Yes. Okay. Well, do you find that nowadays, comparatively to like 2, 3 years ago, do you feel like you move differently through the world knowing that people listen to your music and like you have such a avid fan base?
Well, I still make songs primarily for me. I know it sounds kind of selfish, but like I do it out of, just the love for making music because it gets me through the day. I enjoy making it, and the effects, the fun has never wore off. It's never changed. So in that context, no, because I still make songs the exact same way that I used to, just for fun and because I enjoy it. But at the same time, I acknowledge that so many more people listen to me, and I really, I'm so thankful for that. So I put in extra work more than ever now, just to make sure that things, sound good enough to put out there for the people that are listening to my music. But at the same time, I need to know that, it's okay for me to change and make these crazy, decisions where I do different things. And, some people might not like that, but other people will. So it's all about just, doing what I want to accomplish and tread on the ground that people, other artists might not necessarily tread on, but at the same time, keeping that fan base and being, loved because you're an artist that dares to, do the things that other artists haven't quite tried. So that's kind of my idea.
Exactly. I think that's such a strong part of your brand is that you're experimental. Do you see
Yeah.
music as a good form of therapy for you then?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always helped me just with just getting through the day and stuff. So 100%. And it's one of the rare things that I can listen to it and it will just help make time go a bit quicker when I'm in a bad mood or whatever, or I can make it and it just makes everything feel a lot better. I can just, focus on making music rather than any other problems for a little bit. So it's great. Yeah, it's really good.
Do you have a WhatsApp group with fans where you talk to them about like mental health and stuff?
Yeah, which is great. It's really good
It's
just
crazy.
to have something like that, where we can all talk together a little bit and help each other out. So yeah, I'm all for that. We made it like last year when lockdown started, just because we thought, things might get a little bit tough. So yeah, we did that and it's gone down really well. People really, enjoy it. People use it every day. I go on it. I wake up in the morning, it'll be like 999 plus messages. I'll be like, geez, it goes so quick.
Do you go back and read all of them? Or you're like, no.
I try to. I'll quickly like scroll through them and like pinpoint bits that like, are funny.
Someone else fill me in.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. You've been connecting with some really big names. Do you have a moment that you reflect on still and find it surreal?
Oh, um, I spoke to Dayglow, and that was really, really cool. He's so awesome. Yeah, so that was really surreal. I spoke to Todd Rundgren as well on Zoom, who's like my hero, my music hero, and that was really surreal. So there's quite a few. It's and I know this isn't like speaking to someone, but I got on the FIFA soundtrack as well, and that was so weird. Like just to get on FIFA, it was like, wait, what? I've been in lockdown for a
But
year,
like
and all of a sudden it's onto FIFA.
the people on
So,
FIFA really blow up as well. Like there are some really big names on there, and if you're not a huge name,
hmm,
people start really googling you off of FIFA.
yeah. Oh
Crazy
yeah,
platform.
yeah. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's nice to see that people enjoy the song as well. So, you know,
Mm.
I'm win about that.
Okay, well, one of the people I want to specifically talk about is Kid Harpoon, because obviously he's the mastermind behind like Harry Styles, Adore You, Falling, Carolina,
Yeah.
Wonder by Shawn Mendes. So many great songs under his belt. What did you learn about yourself from working with him?
Yeah. So I've known him for a couple years now, actually, Tom.
Mm,
His real name's Tom.
gather that.
And yeah, he actually started off as an artist himself, and like years ago, and it just never was quite right for him. I think it was because he wanted to experiment and just become this a singer and songwriter, be honest about his music, but he delved into production, and it's something that I found so interesting working with him, that his head screwed on in the perfect way. He's kind of like me in the sense that we can both kind of just knuckle down and make a song. Like both times that we've worked together, we literally created a song from scratch in like 4 or 5 hours, like the finished result. And he just had really interesting ideas. For example, we had this we did a song together called "Used to Love" a while ago, and I was we we're playing it in like a 4/4 kind of beat and something, and then he was just like, right, let's make the bit 12/8, which is like a crazy time signature, and we put it in there, and it was so cool, like it fit perfectly. So he's kind of just allowed me to say, hang on, okay, I'm actually going to try this crazy idea that people might be like, wait, what's going on here? And another great example of that is Watermelon Sugar, which he did with Harry Styles. Like the chord structure is so like different and out there, and almost doesn't make sense, but it does. And it's really cool to see that he's bringing that to the table, and he's making, he's creating ideas that are a bit more out there and a bit more complex and a bit more interesting to, lay into. But he's kind of making that standard and making, he's kind of making pop more interesting. So that's something that I really admire about him, and that he's definitely taught, just put in a couple crazy ideas to your pop songs and it will like take them to the next level.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's totally on your future. I can see you taking after him then. Turbo Tom and Templeman.
Templeman. That's
That's
brilliant.
your duo.
That's so good.
Okay, well, Forever is Long Enough is the title of your mini album and the track you guys did together. What was the impetus for that track? Because that's one of the ones from when you were 14, right?
Yeah, so when I started that song, the title was kind of laying around, and it never really had the same meaning as it does now, and it was just going around my head, to be honest. Like I just had the instrumental and the words "Forever isn't long enough," and they were going round and round. It never made sense. And then 2020 came, and I went to California, where he lives, to record this song, and it was like, okay, hang on, wait, I've just left school. Now I'm going on a plane to America to record a song with one of the best producers in the world, and it was all of a sudden it all came to me. Like I was almost like, and this is what the whole record's about basically, which is why I named it "Forever Isn't Long Enough." It made me realize that all of this crazy stuff's going on in my life, and like I've done so much stuff, but I'm only like 17, and like this is just crazy. So I was almost singing about what had happened in my life so far, like what had gone on. And basically the idea of Forever Isn't Long Enough is that even if we had forever, we wouldn't be able to do all the things we want to. So just enjoy it for what's happening. So when I got into the studio, I was literally just making up lyrics on the spot and saying, hey Tom, is this all right, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, that's perfect. But yeah, the whole idea was just singing about nostalgia, singing about how I'd left school, and I still kind of miss it and stuff, but at the same time I'm now a full-time musician and I'm enjoying every second of it, kind of thing. And you know. So the whole idea was just, you know, wow, here I am in LA making a song about my life, kind of thing. And it was, yeah, it was just crazy.
Yes, such an exciting time to be you, man. What?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so curious. What age do you think you identify with mentally then?
Oh God, I never know. I think I'd probably say about like 20 or something.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like
Okay.
I'm a little bit older, even though I'm not, because I'm still a massive kid, and my voice sounds like I'm 14. So um, it's weird, but I think just because I've been in the music biz for so long, I think people always think I'm about, you know, 20 or something as well, and I feel like I've matured quite a lot because I've learned quite a lot in the last few years and stuff. So sometimes it feels like I'm a bit older. Then I'm like, wait, no, I'm 18. I just turned 18. So I just have to remind myself.
Also, 20 is even not that old. You'll get to 20 and you'll be like, whoa, I'm still pretty young. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
whoa.
absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay, so what direction do you think you're gonna, well, you already will know. What direction are you moving towards for your debut album?
Prog rock. I'm just kidding.
No!
Like, you know, a big mixture really. There's some like 70s soft rock kind of stuff in there. At the same time, there's quite like funky kind of Prince sounding stuff. Um, Also like R&B, a bit of D'Angelo kind of vibes in there. All kinds of stuff, you know, funk, just a big mixture really. I want to make sure that every song brings a different vibe, but at the same time you can tie them all together and put them into one package. So we'll soon see, but I think it's going to be pretty good.
I have high expectations, not gonna lie. Oh, I have one other question before I let you go. So while you're working
Yeah,
simultaneously on doing like a mini album plus your debut album, you're probably working on your debut album while you're doing your EPs. How do you select which songs make the album cut and which ones make your EPs or mini album cuts?
well, you can kind of tell earlier on
Hmm.
when you're doing all the stuff what kind of fits in sonically, what you can kind of bind together and make a track list out of. And you know, normally I'll actually record a song for the certain project kind of thing. So you know, I'll go, okay, this one sounds a bit disco poppy, so I'll put it on forever isn't long enough. Or okay, this one's got a bit of a 70s influence, so I think it could be a contender for the full length, basically. And yeah, you gain a pretty good sense of what's going on really in terms of like what influences you want the records to, you know, shape into and stuff. So yeah, you know, pretty much straight away. It's not like they're all sitting about and then you have to like subcategorize them into like this album, this album, this album. It's yeah, you figure it out.
That's literally what I imagined because you're like, oh, I want a really strong debut album, but I gotta save some of these strong ones for these other projects as well, guys. Like, I don't want
Yeah,
that to just flop. Turbo Templeman, it's been a pleasure, and I hope to one day meet you in Australia. This has been lovely.
mate, that would be amazing. Thank you so much, Tate. It's been amazing.